Today we're at the University of Pennsylvania asking students what they think about having male athletes who identify as female compete in women's sports. UPenn has been at the center of a recent controversy with a male athlete competing on the women's swim team. Also, see what happens when we ran into that athlete.
Leah! Hey! Can we talk?
Do you have a minute? But this is happening all across the country, and it's a growing national conversation. Let's see what they think. Are you okay with being on camera?
Totally, yeah.
All right, okay. Do you think that men have any physical advantages over women in sports?
I'd say, like, in terms of probability, like, yes, like, there's, like, a greater population of men who'd have a greater capability than women over, like, a sport.
Physiologically, they probably are capable of, like, putting on more muscle and just building muscle easier. And also, you know, they just have, like, larger builds generally.
And I would say in terms of physique, like, one thing that I've been under the impression of is that men have an easier time developing, like, their upper body strength than women. So I feel like in some ways, yeah.
Yes, they do have an advantage because their physique is different than women's. So yes, they do have an advantage.
Physically, I think, yeah. And that has been proven by scientists.
Just like physically, I think men and women are built differently, and so that's just kind of how it works.
Genetically, I would say, like, physically, obviously testosterone and all that stuff that backs up behind the fact that men are physically stronger than women.
Well, it's not really a matter of what I say. Factually, they're taller, greater bone density, muscle mass. Like, what I say doesn't matter. It's just factually true.
Do you think men's and women's sports should be kept separate?
It doesn't matter to me. Whoever, you guys want to have fun, just do what you want, I guess. Like,
I think it's better if we keep it separate.
I don't know if it was safe for women if they play like a wrestle versus men.
I don't think there should be any barriers to men and women competing together.
Ah, good thought. This one's really being debated right now, I know. I don't know, honestly. I don't know enough, yeah.
Okay.
But assuming that we want women to be able to win in women's sports, then yes, of course.
Did you ever compete in any sports in high school or any, like, community sports or anything?
yeah, no, so I did varsity basketball in high school, and then I not ran track, I was in the field team, so, like, I threw javelin.
How would you do against the girls that were playing the same sport?
In my league, like, I was doing, better than the other female athletes.
So I don't know if you know who Allison Felix is. She's a famous Olympic runner. There are 275 high school boys who, in 1 year, beat out Allison Felix's lifetime best. How do you think she would feel if there were boys that were displacing her, if they were sharing the same sport?
I think she would probably not feel the best, obviously working towards her goals and everything like that, but so maybe they should be kept separate. I don't know. Yeah.
Okay.
She has the world record. Okay, yeah, then God, that would be awful. Then I guess going back to the previous question, they probably should be kept separate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be okay. Like that's a sportsman spirit, I guess.
You think it would be okay for her not to make the Olympics?
No, that's not true. But she should make it to the Olympics.
Okay. So are you saying that we should keep men's and women's sports separate then? Because otherwise she wouldn't make it, right?
If she matches the level, she can make it, right?
But they've already beat her.
Then probably yes.
So the NCAA is allowing males who identify as female to participate in sports. How do you feel about that? What's your initial reaction?
Yeah, that one's where it's tough. I'm also trans.
How do you identify?
I identify as just gender neutral, so they pronouns is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that one's really difficult because there's the, inherent, like, physique differences like I was talking about.
I actually don't really see the problem with that. I'd say, like, if it doesn't particularly affect you, like, why do you really share an opinion in it?
Yeah, I think that when it comes to transgender rights, we should 100% respect that.
If someone wanted to destroy women's sports, it'd be a great way to do so. Don't think that's a great thing to do, but it would get the job done.
Yeah, I guess then, God, I can't imagine, like, being like, no, you have to compete on the male team even though you're identifying as female. That feels wrong. But simultaneously, like, the differences between them, like, you were saying that high schoolers beat her records. So like, there's just I feel like they should be kept in their I guess gender at birth category.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. There's a UPenn swimmer who is male, identifies as female, swam for the men's team for a while, and then recently joined the women's team. And so now is shattering school records, competing against the females that are also on the team. So how do you think, even just here on this campus, how do you think those women feel?
They're probably, again, discouraged by that result.
And look who walked by while we were doing interviews.
Leah, hey, can we talk?
Do you have a minute?
Do you have a minute?
I gotta go. I gotta go to practice.
Okay.
I guess practice is important before a championship meet. Have you heard about the UPenn swimmer, male who identifies as female, Leah Thomas, who's competing on the women's team here at UPenn?
How could I not have?
I have no idea how the women feel about that on the team. I'm sure they're supporting of their teammate, though, because teammate seems to be showing out to all the competitions.
Oh, the men win at women's sports. Who would have guessed?
What's your reaction to that?
I think it's not fair.
Like seriously, how do you think they feel? I mean, this is not a hard question. They're probably not too happy because they worked really hard for much of their lives, only to have a competition that's stacked against them.
It's just a whole lot of weird situation, sort of.
It's not fair, and if we want to destroy women's sports, which I don't think we do, but if we want to destroy women's sports, that'd be how to go about it.
Do you think more people should be speaking up about this for the women on these teams?
Yeah, but it's really hard to skillfully do that without seeming anti-trans.
There's certainly some pressure against people speaking out because they'll be canceled, what have you.
It's a difficult one to call because we want to be inclusive and simultaneously we want to respect people's true identities, and yet simultaneously you just can't deny the physiological advantages. And so there's equality for trans people, which is clearly important, but there's equality for everyone. And it shouldn't necessarily be one or the other. And I think that with this sporting example, it seems like it is kind of being a one or the other type situation. Yeah.
Sometimes people have to brave personal consequences. Because sometimes people are fired and whatnot for speaking out about this kind of thing.
So do you think that they might be taking opportunities away from women that might be deserving of those awards and scholarships and opportunities?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
In a lot of ways, it scares me because I think that if we want to have true inclusivity, it's about building bridges between people. It's about coming together and figuring out appropriate ways to do that. And yet, with canceled culture, right now it's about demoralizing people and saying, "Oh, you don't have the same beliefs as me, so you're lesser than." And I think that that's not any way to change the general American psyche, because that's just fighting with anger, and anger doesn't lead anywhere except for to more anger. That's just my personal opinion.
Unfortunately, there were a lot of students that said they were uncomfortable discussing this topic on camera, which speaks volumes about the fear people have when speaking out. So most of the students we talked with today acknowledge that there are undeniable physical advantages that men have over women, despite testosterone suppression. While many believe that males who identify as female should not be able to compete in women's sports, others said that they were undecided and that it's a conversation that needs to be had. But in sports, it's clear that biology is what matters. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, share, and comment with your thoughts.